Everyone, and welcome back to the first Descendant. So today, this is not necessarily a build for Blair, but I've noticed even now that the people that I play with, they tend to not know how to build their characters, and this is just everybody that I see a lot of the time. Randos, even friends that I know, and like just some people don't understand how to build your character, especially when you just barely got to hard mode. You don't have to build damage every single time. Every single time you see a YouTuber kill the boss with like two shots or in like less than 3 seconds, less than 5 seconds, you don't have to build that straight off the bat, especially since you have to level up your character at least, I want to say 6 times to up to level 40 so you can get the full benefit of the build from that YouTuber. So here I'm using Blair because this is one of the characters that I don't have fully built. I don't have catalyzed or anything, so this is best showcase for this. So if you go to the descendant modules, as you can see, I don't have anything. The max right now I have is 40, and that's because I am mastery rank level 23, as you can see right here. And at mastery rank level 20, I believe, you get the max capacity slots for your descendant, which is 50. Uh, but if you're lower than that, it's not that big of a deal. There's ways to get around it, especially if you're rank 7. If you only have 40 slots, then you can use something to circumvent that. So it's not that big of a deal as of now, but because I have 50, I will show it for 50. So if I go to the Descendant modules, here's a couple things you always want to build. This is going to go for every single character. You want to build HP. And trust me, yes, you're losing out on damage, but you're going to have to level up your character to level 40 initially. And then in order to get more damage out of him or her, you have to use a crystallization catalyst where you reset your level to level 1. And then you have to level up to level 40 again in order to use another one and get more benefits out of your character. And that's how it's going to be for a couple days. Okay, so you got to keep this in mind. You're going to be doing other activities all the time. You don't have to do specifically HP amplification. I increase HP, that's the base one. So you want to level this up all the way as fast as you can because you're going to be using this on every single character that you have, at least initially. You can get rid of it later, it's fine. But initially, you're going to have to use this because you're gonna be getting one shot every single time. Doesn't matter if you're in normal mode. There is way too many enemies. I don't care if you kill them in 2 seconds. Eventually, they're gonna catch up to you because you run out of MP, or maybe an exploding guy spawns right where you're at and then explodes and then just kills you and then it's just game over. Um, Increase HP, max HP, and then we're gonna go over to your secondary and we're gonna go, if I remember what it is. Uh, there we go. Defense. So right here, as you can see, it got put into one of these, which cuts it in half. Not every single character is gonna have the same one, so for all intents and purposes, I'm gonna put it over here for now. So you can get away with just these two. That's completely fine. Even defense, you can use this, which increases your skill power, but decreases your defense, which is completely fine. You can get away with just using one. There's no problem in that. So, but you need to at least level up these two all the way because you're going to be using them in every single character. Now, from here, well, it all depends on the character after this, but we can all use some cooldowns. So this is going to give you 25% cooldown. Level that up all the way too, because again, you're going to be using this on every single character. They are better ones out there. For example, MP conversion gives you a 36% cooldown, but it decreases your MP. Uh, but starting off, you don't really want that. It's okay. Once you get to know your character, then you know build it however you want. So from here, as you can see, I only have 6 slots left. So after this is all you need, honestly. just starting off, all these three, just three. Because again, as I've said, you don't want to get one shot. You don't want to be a hindrance to your teammates because if you get constantly getting one shot, then your teammates are not doing damage because they're reviving you, and you're not doing damage because you're being revived or you're down. So these are the essential ones for every single build. So moving after this one, I only have 6 slots from here. Well, you can choose something like that pertains to your character. For example, Blair uses fire, so you can use something with like Fire Master, or you can look at his skills or whatever. But here's another important one that you might want. So you can use any of these down here, starting from here. Kicking, anything with like grapple or dual claws, tonfa. This is all like the dual claws, tonfa, the kicking, shock punch, and the short sword. They change your melee. So they changed the gun, or like just the little punch that he does. Changed it for something else. Changed it to, for example, here it's just a sword, you know, or dual claws or whatever it says. The other ones, like this one, these don't cost anything, by the way, so you can just put freely in them. They change your grapple. So usually you have 2 grapple. Depending on which one you have, this one makes it so that you can grapple on the air underneath surface. It's on cooldown for some reason, like that. But you only have one instead of the two that you usually have. So it's up to you what you want to use there. But it's important to use one there because if we go back here and if I put just made it maneuvering for now, it doesn't do anything, as you can see. But if I put kicking, which is all the way up, it increases my modules module slots to 60 instead of 50. So it increases it to 10. And if you put a crystal ascension catalyst in there, you can increase it to 15. So now I have an extra 10 to play around with. From here, as I've said, we can look into fire. So if I just type in fire, we get fire specialist, which increases my fire skill power, which is what Blair is. And since it's here, it's gonna be cut in half, but I can still put it outside and it's still gonna be just like the max. But since it's here, I can cut it in half and I can play around with something else. And if I have this slot free right here, I can either move this over here to decrease it, and then I can add something that increases my skill damage, skill critical hit damage, or this front lines. Any of these are fine, or you can look at your skills. For example, Blair, uh, this one does dimension, this one does dimension, this one does also dimension, but this one does singular. Singular, this one doesn't really matter, but if you want to do more damage, you can look into something that says dimension, which is going to increase my skill power modifier. So it's going to go up from, let's look at this one. Right now, skill power modifier is 616.8%, but because I put the dimension in there, it's going to go up a little bit. It doesn't show it here, but yes, it does go up. So, and it has a little bit of cooldown, minus 6.1%. Now, as I've said, you just need these three. And this one, optional if you have it. But pick one from down here and level all of these up, and you're going to be set, right? After that, again, you can go for damage. That's all depending on your character. For example, Ajax, he is mostly based off on defense and health, so you might want to have a bit more cooldown in there or a bit more defense or more health. It's just up to the character. So if I go to my Ajax, yes, it's Ultimate Ajax. But if I go here, yes, you can see mine is just cooldown, HP, defense, extension, Cooldown with HP, more extension because this is how I want to build them. This is a farming build, and this is my more of a tanky build. So you can see I have HP, uh, defense, HP. This is kind of like a defense, but it's critical hit resistance. Uh, Cooldown, more HP, cooldown, and this is my build for him. And as you can see right here, this goes up to 15, so it increases by 5, so you can have an extra 15 mod slots instead of 10. And the max you can get is 85 once you use your energy activator and you put a crystallization catalyst here, increasing it up to 85. And if you're master rank 20. So it gives you a lot of room to play with. Even then, as you can see, I have all this filled out and I still have a bit of mod slots left here. Here, same thing. Actually, I think that one goes over. Does that say 89? Is that even possible? How is that possible? I think that's a glitch. That shouldn't be saying 89. I don't know. What's going on here? That's strange. I've never seen that. Yeah, 89 out of 85. What's wrong here? What's going on? That's really weird. Well, disregard that. It should only go up to 85. I don't know. It's a weird glitch. But yeah, that's how you build your character. This is like a beginner guide. Um, Again, you're gonna be doing that for those characters. For example, if I go Murai Jaber, if another character that I don't have fully developed either, he's just leveled up. If I go to my modules, you can see HP, defense, and nimble fingers, right? And if I go to another one that I don't really use, and so what's in here? Again, kicking, HP, defense, nimble fingers. I have more HP on him and more defense because that's the way I wanted Enzo to be like, you know. And I still have 3, which is nothing. Honestly, there's no modules that are like cost 3, so I'm like got a lot there. The least amount of modules that one uses is 4, so I can't put that in there. See, doesn't let me. Another thing that I really want to mention is that yes, people like to focus on characters. For example, once they unlock Bunny, they really want to focus on the damage build. Even for my Bunny, I have HP here and I have defense, right? And I can swap this out for Spirit and Shield, which gives me more skill power, more damage, and it's still not fully built yet. So again, even with a character that's completely burst, I use HP and defense at least 1 and 1 because I want to survive. I want to be surviving. If you're not surviving, you're not dealing damage, you're constantly down, you're hindering your team, and it just creates this domino effect where you go down, somebody goes revive you, they go down because of the sheer amount of bullets they're being bombarded with, and now you got 2 people down, and then it just keeps going like that. And if nobody's dealing damage, then the monsters just keep shooting at you, and people keep going down. So you need some defense no matter what type of character it is. And I see this a lot. No matter what I do, there's always one guy that gets down instantly from one shot because they don't have any defense. Yes, they deal a lot of damage, especially bunnies. I'm looking at you, bunny mains. I'm looking at you, leopard mains. You need some defense, at least in the early stages. You don't have to crystallize these for your HP and your defense. You don't have to. You can just focus on your damage, but you need those initial 3 at least in order to survive. You know. I also want to mention that yes, people focus on the character a lot. I've seen that. They go straight for the character and doing XP and stuff, farming. but they tend to overlook their gun. That's another thing that you want to look into too. Just choose one gun, primary, secondary, doesn't matter, special, I don't care. Choose one gun. It doesn't have to be the meta, but choose one gun and level it up all the way and just max it out. Like, do what you can with it. Thunder Cage is a good one because it's really easy to get, and it's a well rounder for like boss killing and mobbing. I use my external willpower because it's an absolute beast in my opinion, and I have it set up so everything here is just maxed out. So right now this is the first weapon that I maxed out, and that's the weapon that I used for the longest time before I started getting into other weapons that I did during Legacy, the Thunder Cage, Afterglow Sword too. It's fully decked out, sort of. I'm just missing one more slot to fully deck it out. Uh, but choose one primary and just stick to it and level it up all the way. Yeah, so that's the video, guys. To recap, put defense on. You need that defense, you need that HP. Otherwise, you're not going to be dealing good damage because you're constantly down. And I gotta keep saying this over and over again because even though I keep seeing all these YouTubers and TikTokers, all these builds and the amount of damage that they deal, and I'm still seeing people constantly go down or not dealing enough damage. You know, so I'll see you on the next one, and maybe hopefully on the next one I'll talk about tips and tricks.